Have you ever thought, why doesn't my minimalist lifestyle feel as peaceful as I hoped? Or find yourself obsessing over an Instagram perfect home? Maybe you've alienated a loved ones with your decluttering zeal. Minimalism, a lifestyle that promises freedom, clarity, and more room for what matters. Sounds amazing, right? But like anything else, it's not immune to missteps. In fact, I've made so many mistakes on this journey, and maybe you did too. So today, I'm breaking it down. 10 mistakes too many minimalists keep making and how to avoid them. And hey, before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe if you're into practical tips and new information about simple living, decluttering, and minimalism every week. The first mistake is expecting a spotless home 24/7. Let's start with the big one, the Instagram trap. I used to believe that minimalism meant my home should always look like a showroom, spotless with everything perfectly aligned. So every time I saw a stray coffee cup or unfolded blanket, I felt annoyed. But here's the truth. We live in our homes. We don't stage them, right? Minimalism isn't about creating a museum. It's about making your space work for you. The coffee cup on the counter, it means someone enjoyed their morning. The pile of books by the couch, it's a sign of curiosity, right? There was a time I just wouldn't even let my partner leave his shoes by the door. I'd immediately stash them away, thinking clutter-free meant stress-free. But the truth is, it didn't. I've since learned to embrace a little lived-in chaos. So the takeaway here is, minimalism is meant to simplify your life, not add unrealistic expectations. Focus on what matters: comfort, functionality, and joy, not perfection. Mistake number 2 is being too hard on loved ones. Here's a truth bomb. Not everyone in your life is going to hop on the minimalist bandwagon with you. And that's totally fine. Believe me, I've learned this the hard way. When I first got into minimalism, I became that person, the one who's basically the door-to-door salesperson for decluttering. You don't need that, toss it. Minimalism will change your life, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's just say my enthusiasm wasn't contagious. It was mildly annoying. Take my mom, for example. She's a hardcore collector of knickknacks. I'm talking ceramic cats, souvenir spoons, and enough decorative plates to open a small museum. One day, I tried to convince her to get rid of them. Well, not surprised, that did not go well. She looked at me like I just suggested throwing out family heirlooms, and honestly, I get it now. Those trinkets bring her joy, and who am I to take that away? Minimalism is deeply personal. It's not a card. Instead of forcing your newfound values on others, try setting boundaries instead. For instance, you can keep shared spaces tidy while letting them have their organized chaos, right? This way, everyone's happy, and you don't have to become that minimalist version of a drill sergeant. And hey, remember, you were not always this enlightened either. There was probably a time when you thought a drawer full of random cables was just in case gold. So give your loved ones the same patience you needed to find your way. Mistake number 3 is being too strict with decluttering. Well, decluttering is like the gateway drug of minimalism. It starts with one junk drawer, and before you know it, you're staring at a mountain of stuff and questioning every decision you've ever made. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. I used to treat decluttering like an all-or-nothing marathon. I'd yank everything out of a closet, spread it all over the floor, and think, this is fine, I've got this. Well, spoiler alert, I did not have this. I'd get so overwhelmed that I'd either throw everything away out of frustration or shove it all back in and call it a day. One time, I even donated a perfectly good winter coat because I hadn't worn it in a while. Fast forward to the first cold snap, and there I was, buying a new coat. So what I want to say is, rash decisions during decluttering can cost you literally. Decluttering is a process, not an Olympic event. Start small, tackle one drawer or one shelf, and really think about what adds value to your life. If it's hard to let go of something, give yourself time to reflect. Remember, progress beats perfection every single time. Mistake number 4 is over-restricting your spending. Minimalism has this reputation for being all about never spending money. Like, if you buy a new pair of shoes, the minimalist policy are going to show up and revoke your membership card. Let me clear this up. That's not what minimalism is about. For example, I once committed to a 3-month no-buy challenge. Sounds noble, right? By the end of it, I was so fed up that I went on a mini shopping spree and bought stuff I didn't even need. It was like telling yourself you are not going to eat chocolate for a year, only to devour an entire cake in one sitting. Here's what I've learned. Balance is everything. Instead of banning or spending, try a low-buy approach. It's less about deprivation and more about intentionality. Ask yourself, do I really need this? Will it genuinely add value to my life? If the answer is yes, go for it, guilt-free. Minimalism isn't about pushing yourself. It's about living with purpose. So buy the thing, but make it something you will truly appreciate. And yes, sometimes that might even mean treating yourself to a fancy coffee because life's too short to skip out on small joys. Mistake number 5 is setting unrealistic expectations. Well, minimalism comes with a lot of perks, but let's get one thing straight. It's not a magic wand that's instantly transform you into a productivity guru or make your life stress-free overnight. I've fallen into this trap so many times. It's embarrassing. For example, there was this one weekend where I decided to declutter my entire wardrobe, organize my pantry, and deep clean the bathroom all in one day. By the time Sunday night rolled around, I've only managed to sort through one shelf of sweaters. Naturally, I feel like a total failure. But here's the reality. I was setting myself up for disappointment with those sky-high expectations, right? Minimalism is a lifestyle, not a race. Break big projects into smaller, bite-sized tasks. Instead of trying to conquer your whole kitchen in one day, start with one drawer or one cabinet. Celebrate those small wins because they add up over time. And let's not forget, life happens. Maybe your decluttering day gets interrupted by a last-minute Zoom meeting, or your dog decides to eat your to-do list. That's okay. Minimalism isn't about perfection. It's about creating a life that works for you, not against you. Mistake number 6 is overlooking your progress. Ever feel like you are running a marathon, but someone keeps moving the finish line? That's how I used to feel about minimalism. Instead of appreciating how much I'd already accomplished, I'd look around and think, there's still so much to do. Well, spoiler alert, this mindset is exhausting. For example, there was this one day when I had big plans to declutter the entire house. Very ambitious, right? Then life threw its Euro curveballs, surprise maintenance call, an overly chatty neighbor, and an unexpected phone marathon with my mom. By the end of the day, all I'd managed to do was declutter a single drawer. At first, I was annoyed, but then I realized that one drawer was no longer stressing me out. It was a tiny victory, and tiny victories add up. Here's the deal. Progress isn't about ticking off every box in one go. It's about the small, consistent steps that move you closer to your goal. So if you find yourself grumbling about what's left to do, pause and give yourself credit for what you've already done. Celebrate that drawer, that shelf, that baby step forward, right? Minimalism is a journey, not a race. And hey, the journey is way more fun when you stop to enjoy the view. Mistake number 7 is neglecting self-care. Well, let's talk about self-care, or as I like to call it, the thing I used to skip in favor of organizing spicy jars alphabetically. And the pro tip here is just don't do that, okay? Minimalism is supposed to make life simpler, easier, but sometimes we get so obsessed with decluttering that we forget to take care of ourselves. Guilty as charged. There was this one weekend where I decided to tackle my closet. Sounds harmless, right? Yeah. Well, I spent the entire weekend decluttering, reorganizing, and Marie-Kondoing every last hanger. By Sunday night, my closet looked amazing, but I feel like a zombie. I'd neglected rest, proper meals, and let's be honest, basic human functioning. The result is I was more stressed than when I started. Here's the thing, a beautifully decluttered space means nothing if you are running on fumes. So make self-care a non-negotiable part of your minimalist journey. Whether it's journaling, like meditating, or taking a bubble bath, or binge watching your favorite show guilt-free, your well-being deserves top billing. Remember, a calmer, happier you is the ultimate minimalist win. Mistake number 8 is treating everything as priority. If everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority. Back in my overachieving days, I'd write this epic to-do list packed with 87 urgent tasks, literally, from clean the fridge to solve word peace. And by mid-morning, I was a ball of stress, wondering why I couldn't get it all done. Guess what? Because it's impossible. Here's an example. One day, my list included write a script, deep clean the bathroom, organize tax documents, and meal prep for the week. Predictably, I got overwhelmed and ended up scrolling Instagram while eating a chocolate bar for lunch. Not my finest hour. So what's the solution? Simplify. I mean it. Now I focus on just 1 or 2 priorities each day. If I have extra time and energy, great, I will tackle something else. But if not, that's okay too. Minimalism isn't just about owning less, it's about doing less and doing it better. So go ahead, ditch a mile-long to-do list and make room for what really matters. Mistake number 9 is lacking a decluttering system. Well, decluttering without a plan is like trying to assemble IKEA furniture without instructions. You are bound to end up frustrated, surrounded by random pieces, and maybe questioning your life choices. I've been there. In the early days of my minimalist journey, I've just dived in without a system. One minute I'd be sorting through old books. The next I'd be knee-deep in kitchen gadgets, wondering how I even got there. It was chaos. Then I discovered the magic of having a system. Now I sort everything into 3 piles: keep, donate, and trash. I also set a timer because, let's face it, decluttering can feel endless without some structure. For example, when I tackled my bathroom, I used this system and was done in under an hour. No more half-finished products or piles that just sit there for days. A good system keeps you focused, saves time, and most importantly, makes the whole process less overwhelming. Mistake number 10 is forgetting to adjust the system. Well, even the best systems need a little tender loving care now and then. Life changes, right? And what worked perfectly last year might not make sense anymore. I'd learned this lesson the hard way, clinging to outdated systems just because they felt familiar. For instance, I once stored my workout gear in a bottom drawer because at that time I rarely exercised. But when I started working out regularly, digging through that drawer every day became a total hassle. It took me way too long to admit that my system wasn't working anymore. Once I moved my gear to a more accessible spot, everything got so much easier. Here's a takeaway. Please review and tweak your systems regularly. Are they still serving you? Do they fit your current needs and habits? If not, it's time for an upgrade. Minimalism is about creating a life that works for you, not the other way around. So don't be afraid to shake things up and make adjustments as needed. So this is 10 common mistakes that minimalists make, and I've come to realize it through my own mistakes. Well, minimalism isn't about being perfect. It's about creating a life that feels meaningful and intentional. We all make mistakes. It's part of our process. The key is to learn, adopt, and keep moving forward. If you find this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's keep simplifying together. See you next time. Bye.